Maybe, just maybe, if something new online isn't urgently life-threatening, consider waiting 24 to 48 hours before making a statement. Hey, so into the video now. I'm going to just check because I was thinking with this whole idea, so I'm just asking what to check. So thread. So the video below claiming to show a cop planting drugs on an African American driver went viral yesterday. As you can see, it was spread to hundreds of thousands of people. It led to people doxing and targeting the cop involved and denunciations of the police generally. I have talked about this several times. I'm actually is there a term like a classic anarchist right now? Well, I believe in the non-aggression principle, and at least I value the non-aggression principle. It's something that I think is important, and it's pro-human flourishing, and that's what I'm for. Humans are my favorite earthlings, and we're soon going to be Solarians. And to do this, we need more liberty from the state, from the government, from other people being able to tell us what to do and do certain things to us. Now, the state is defined by its monopoly of coercion over a given area. And police are enforcement agents. They're law enforcement agents over whatever governance you're under. It doesn't have to be a state government like democracy, a dictatorship, whatever. The police can also be private agents. If you go into a bank and that bank has its private force, it's a security force. Now, you might not exactly call them police, but they do policing of certain laws and regulations within that place. But you chose to enter that place. You chose to kind of accept that this is what you're going to do. If you play a certain sport, they have internal policing of certain rules within that. Oh, you can't take certain substances. You can't wear certain clothes. They have a system in there that you allow, and you kind of agree that if I'm going to play this sport, these are the rules I follow. The difference is with the state, you get born into a state or you move to a certain place. And yes, I guess when you actually go to a place and like, okay, I'm going to become a citizen of this place. The majority of the people don't do that. And regardless, there's certain issues with how they're funded and things like that. So I have my issues with the way right now that most police systems are set up, but the one in the United States of America is preferable to what I've seen in a lot of places, even with the glaring issues of it inherently and the things with the people. Regardless of all of that, this is some absurd stuff. And as I mentioned at the start, with some of these things, just wait 24 to 48 hours. If you didn't comment on this, if these people didn't comment on this, 24 to 48 hours to wait for information to come out, then what exactly happens? Does this guy get hung? No, it doesn't happen because the United States of America is a preferable place to that place. It's not like you're going to go to a place where it's like in China, where it's 99% or something, over 99% conviction rate when the Chinese government, the Chinese Communist Party system, or the Communist Party of China's system, however you want to call it, whenever they actually take somebody to court, it's a 99+% conviction rate. Check it out. It's like 99.4%. So it's not like that here. There's still some sort of due process, and it's getting better by the day, especially when people have body cams, which I think is one of the best things to have in the United States of America and should be adopted by other police people everywhere. If I had a private police force of this kind of sort going out and dealing with actual people in there, I'd want them to be some system. I think that should be extended to pretty much all quote-unquote public servants that are providing a quote-unquote public service, including schools and things like that. You don't have to see every single minute of the footage, but if an issue comes up like this one, the person has the actual footage. So now you watch this, and that was edited. That was us out there. And I think the video here there's a video here lower where it's the entire point of view where you can see he throws it in, and then he says, you can check this out later when you want to. A full explanation: when the officer removed the rear passenger from the car, they found an empty bag in his pocket. As the officer explains in the body cam footage, he was just putting the passenger's empty baggie in the car. Now, he has his body cam footage the whole time. Some people are like, oh, you can't do that anyway. That's throwing back something of evidence. If something was evidence, chances are he wouldn't throw it back in the car that way. He would have bagged it in a different way. Now, even if that's the case of it, yes, some cops might still get to the point where they hide this footage. They don't show it. But if this arrest is made and the family goes and demands, like, we need to see the footage, they would have to show the entire footage. They'd be like, okay, why is there a cut in this place? So that could still happen. But in this particular case, this footage was there and available, and people decided to comment on it anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check. He says here, okay, it was promoted by countless of celebrities. I know, like, I kind of get semantic and pedantic with the words here. Like countless. I guess it's just a phraseology, but you could probably count how many people actually did it. I guess it also depends on who's a celebrity and who's a journalist in this thing, including Rex Chapman, whose account is easily one of the top 10 sources of misinformation on this website. It turns out that the video was intentionally clipped to leave out the context. So what I'm going to do now is go to Rex Chapman's page, and in part of this. There's something here on the side I just wanted to show you as well. So this is something that really kind of bugs me. Whenever someone tells you, here's why that matters, I'm like, okay, that's an easy way to get it. This clickbait, where it's like it gets you to actually click on things. This is like the inverse. This is like don't click me warning. Don't click me tag. When you're trying to tell me why something matters, I'm like, no, let me just read the article and see if it matters. Don't try, I guess, but this is also an op-ed. It doesn't, not everything is editorial, not everything is investigative reporting. This could just be an opinion piece from the San Francisco Chronicle. But anyway, so Rex Chapman, 1.1 million votes. We've been talking about misinformation and things like that and how harmful it is. As mentioned, people have been doxing the policeman, saying, who is this man? Let's talk to him. He's probably getting, like, he might have got some death threats, but there's a challenge out there. Now, this is the thing, 24 to 48 hours. You could wait and see some more information. But let's see what Rex Chapman did. Now, what I want to show here is that there's a way of searching for actual things. So you search Rex Chapman there. Now, 1 second. Because I had a little congestion, and then a couple of messed up recordings from messing up the typos and things like that. But we're good to get into this. This is just waiting 24 to 48 hours if something's not entirely life-threatening. This person's life was not a threat, because there's certain issues in the United States of America where you're not just, it's not a 100% lynch mob. We're not living in a place like South Africa still, I think recently still has things like the what's it called? The necklacing. I remember being a kid and getting into Kenya when I was 5 or 6, and the newspaper comes and on the cover there's somebody who's been necklaced, because that was something that was actually now exported in other parts in sub-Saharan Africa. And for those of you who don't know, it's putting a tire on somebody and then putting like gasoline in the tire and then lighting it on fire. Lynch mob used to get people and do that to them, and that was like in my living memory. I mean, I guess I'm kind of old, but that was like in the 90s and stuff like that. But this has been happening more recently in South Africa, and this was something that was made popularized by Winnie Mandela, wife of Nelson Mandela. Little known fact. I guess it's not a little known fact. A lot of people know this, but it's not spoken of as much as certain things. It's a garbage thing to do from, I think, in general, just rather horrific individual, like strong women. Anyway, so back to this thing. So here we go. Tell me again how you reform this. Problems occur not due to what X is, but how we define X. So this video was defined a certain way. I'm not quite sure. I think I went on the rant in this before about editing, what editing is. So, okay, so this is defined in a certain way by that. So what's the this being defined here? They've made a statement on it. Yes, it's a question mark, but there's still a question on what this is. So we're going to go with Rex Chapman here for the search. So you can't go to advanced search yet. I think it's search settings, you can different throw locations or exploitation, so you can do this for do the different things. But you go to Rex Chapman. So I put Rex Chapman there. So Rex Chapman will come up. Instead of clicking the actual name, I'm going to just do a search on that. Then when you go to the search on that, now there's different ways to input there that I'll show you after we get to this point. But I'll go to here, to the side, and you click that and advanced search. Now you can go to here and you can put, tell me again how you reform this. Now that's it. Again, you see my spelling's horrible. I'm looking at the screen, and you can tell like some of my spellings is not it's not thing where I'm writing while looking at the screen. So how you reform this? So tell me again how you reform this. That's there from these accounts. Put Rex Chapman right there. So you can put exact thing. This is just different phrase, different words from it. It's in the words. If it's a longer thing, and you can get like the keywords from it, like Seattle weather, if that's mentioned in there, and then you put an exact phrase. Let's say it says hop to it, and you put the exact phrase, then that will siphon it down from many different things. Let's say you haven't seen the person's name is written on there on the tweet that you see being posted out. You can just type, oh, Seattle weather, and maybe hop to it. Now, there might be other things in there that might be more generalized, but if you put the exact phrase in there, it will get this is just going to get the different words in it. So search. So here we go. Tell me again how you reform this. That's not coming up. I have found this actual tweet before. Why is it not showing? Tell me again how you reform this from Rex Chapman. Maybe it's case sensitive. Is it case sensitive? I don't know. Let's actually make sure that it's not case sensitive. So tell me again. Tell me again how you reform this with the double question marks from Rex Chapman. Let's do a search. Does it come up? There we go. So again, it's case sensitive. It seems to be case sensitive. And I don't know if the name is case sensitive or just the actual thing that's written there. So tell me again how you reform this. So this comes up. Let's see what's said with this Rex Chapman tweet. Has this person responded back? So here we go. So it'll just say that it's possible that the officer found the evidence, took it out, and then put it back. So this person said that, July 25th. And this was posted by Rex Chapman on the 25th. So this actually is almost 24, 25 hours after. I don't know, maybe this was posted on July 25th, 24th, like at night. Maybe it was posted at 11:45 p.m. And then he was still online in the morning, like at 12:15 a.m. And then he posted it, and then you can see that depending on his thing. So yeah, 12:20 a.m. It's actually there. It was actually kind of close. Maybe my mind subconsciously saw that, but that's actually there. So the police have a fairly compelling explanation for this video, given that no arrests were made and no illegal activity other than speeding was found. With follow-up of the video poster stating otherwise, I think this is just a minor league f up. So that's kind of there. You see, that's their question: how many times has he done this before and gotten away with this shit? And see, this could happen. It could be something, and there are reforms. There's ways to actually protect people against this in the system in the United States of America. Even with the inherent issues that I have with it, it's done in a better way. As I might have mentioned before, I'm forgetting with all the edits that I've done on this. I think body cameras are one of the ways to help reform these. Body cameras for all public servants. If you're working in a public institution as a public servant dealing with the public, I think you should have whatever your interactions are recorded. This should go even to high-level politicians. You know, they say, oh, questions of national security and things like this, but if your politician is making a deal about something that's supposed to help millions of people and it's not like inside baseball type, why shouldn't we be able to have like recordings and say, okay, were you guys doing insider trading? Were you like selling this person out? Were you actually saying, oh, I'm going to say this to the people in public, but in the back room I'm not really going to demand this? Why can't we have body cams on all public servants? I would support that. Would you be against that? I don't know. I think that would be a positive thing to have because you're serving the public, right? It's supposed to be public. It's not private. So why should you have these private conversations and private interactions when you're a public servant? And a place like the United States of America can afford to have this. I see some places where it's like, oh, you can have your own body cam. They don't really say police can't have them. I know there's issues with the body cams in some situations. I've mentioned how there's things like edits where some things are edited in a certain way to be. And this is a kind of edit, like I mentioned before. I think I mentioned before that they say this is a sort of edit that people like Project Veritas go into, and they say that's a negative thing. So when this is already up here, you can see how this actually is. Rex Chapman, Timcast. Let's make sure that it's case sensitive. If any of this is case sensitive, let's make sure we're getting this right. So Tim Pool is a rather famous guy, right to jail. Let's see what he says here. He has a lot of followers. So he's boosting this stuff out to the world. Is it capitalized? Let's make sure. Right to jail. No, it's not capitalized. Right to jail from Timcast. Let's search. Right to jail. That's from Timcast. That's up there. Let's open that in a separate window. So innocent until proven guilty. This is February 22nd. But you see also but you can't defend yourself all that well in Chicago since situations have become whack. Either way, I don't think using cash is the best way to keep suspects in jail is right. So as scheduled, sweeping criminal justice overhaul package will abolish cash bail in Illinois, and I think cash bail should be kind of allowed. I don't know. It seems just strange. At least they just let them out. I don't know with these systems and things. But anyway, so right to jail. Let's focus on that in particular. So he said right to jail. He posted that here. So why is the title allegedly? That's pretty effing blatantly obvious. It turns out that it's actually not blatantly obvious because it was a snippet of a longer video, and you actually see the release has come out and it's actually there. So Tim called it. A while back, Tim observed that the negative impact of decent cops fleeing would be the vacuum of dirty cops to fill the void, cops who don't care about you. And this is the thing, certain positions will attract certain people who can use certain tools those positions have. It doesn't mean everybody who enters that thing will use that tool. Just like if you like a job where you hold a gun, some people are like, oh yeah, police, you can walk around with a gun in pretty much all places. Some people who want to shoot people might be like, hey, let me do it because I can do it as a police. But most of the people will at least be okay enough with holding a gun. And how many people, there's a wide swath of people who are just not okay with the possibility of them having to hold a gun or use a gun. Some people are okay, and that they consider that to be a perk of the job. This is just something that happens when you attract certain people to certain places. The officer's body cam footage is currently circulating, and that was fast. And judging by the original cell phone video, one could easily come to a harsh conclusion concerning this cop. Well, it would appear this whole situation wasn't as dramatic as originally suspected. And see, this is just wait for a little bit. July 25th, this was posted. Again, this is something where I think if he just waited a bit longer. Now, I have checked, as I mentioned, I've been on this road here before, and he hasn't mentioned anything so far. And he has 8.38 thousand followers, and the person before, Rex Chapman, had 1.1 million, and they also hadn't gone in and responded back to it. Now, this is Australia, yeah. I mean, Australia it still is a prison camp. I mean, it was invented like that. And I had a short rant I'm just going to do right here. I could call myself, I could say, like, right now, I'm recording this from Mars, and I'm actually a 500-year-old Japanese witch that's 5 foot tall, redheaded with freckles, and I'm using this magic spell through a spirit animal to record this on the computer and projecting it out to you. I can say that, but that's not true. And in this situation, I completely agree. And anarchy does not equal chaos. I have some merchandise with that. Antifa are not anarchists. I've talked about this. I'm currently listening to the audiobook of The Road to Serfdom, and Hayek talks about the situation happening with, what's it called? He's talking about the situation happening with, he's talking about what's happening with democratic socialists and them using the term liberal. Liberal has been abused. That's a term like capitalism, people meaning something else. Problems occur not because of what X is, because of how you define X. They're not engaged in actual liberal things. They think it's more like liberal from actual demands, liberal from actual requirement to do certain things in order to achieve things. Whereas the government should provide certain things for the population so they don't have to go out there. They have the liberty from going out there and obtaining these things by themselves. Whereas liberalism itself, initiated with the libertarians and things like that, where it's like we want liberty from the government enforcing certain things on us. So we should be at liberty to pick which police forces we want to actually enforce a certain area, not just have a thing where, oh, the government needs to ensure we have a certain police force so we can be at liberty to be safe here, or at liberty to not be actually accosted and affected by these other negative things in these areas. So I think that there is a difference in there that is kind of mistaken and I kind of missed out on. So this last one, I did a search for this already and I have it up here loaded. So Andrew Kimmel, and again, this was just something where I wanted to see, did this person actually come out and actually mention anything about it? And no, they didn't say this. They prosecute the cop to the fullest extent of the law. Yes, they will, and the extent of the law for what the cop actually did, it's not even prosecutable. So that will be done. Shocking, fired and arrested. I agree. No, that shouldn't be. Nothing is what it seems. See, again, show the actual video. You dumb bee. So, I mean, the people are getting it to him. Andrew Kimmel right here may not have that many people, but producer of television, live streamer of news, co-founder of RNXus, former head of live video at BuzzFeed News. And this is what they're posting. They haven't actually mentioned anything about this yet. They haven't come in and said anything. You see, now they'll post that and then they'll also post a snippet of this and say, oh, anti-vaxxers chanting Sig Heil at the restaurant workers. Is there context on this, or are you just going to post clips? See, here the clip was actually posted. They haven't come in and addressed it. Tim Pool hasn't come in and addressed that actual post that he had. I would prefer, instead of deleting things, there was a feature that was added in. Maybe you could do like a pin your comment on the top. But this is just a general suggestion. If something happens, wait 24 to 48 hours before making a statement of it, especially when you have certain large followings like some of these people do. I mean, it's getting out to a lot of people, and then many people don't come back in and actually check and see what's happened on the back end of that. They don't come and see, okay, has been a correction. They pass that on, and there's misinformation. I am still a maximalist when it comes to sharing of information. I think the benefits from it are more positive than negative. I'd rather have 1,000 terabytes of misinformation go out into the world if that means one piece of actual factual, important, true information can get out. I would rather that happen instead of saying, oh, we need to put certain limitations that make it harder to actually share that information. No, we need to have it as easy as possible to share information, whether right or wrong, because now with that ability, I don't have to be some 5 foot tall Asian 500-year-old witch with some magic powers living on Mars or the next seven moon, I forget, in order to actually come and do this. I can just wake up, look at this, be like, okay, I'm going to record this video, I'm going to do some slight editing on it, I'm going to post it online, and you can be able to actually see it. That's positive because this might reach somebody, and then now from me saying this and me doing this, somebody else or might ingrain it in myself more, where I'm going to do this more with the searches, and then the next time somebody comes and they see like an image of somebody being posting something, instead of just posting it on, they can be like, oh, I remember when I saw this video that Silas posted, and then I'm going to do a search. And instead of them going out and doing that, instead of them going out and posting that misinformation, they'll search and find that, oh, it's actually false. Or they might actually see that, and they might actually go and be the person who tells that initial person who posted that initial thing, like, oh, by the way, this is wrong, like, maybe you should wait, and then that person's going to change their practice in that kind of situation. I don't know. This is how things change, and it takes some time for this to happen. It's a developing situation. Rex Chapman seems to me, well, I guess they said this is one of the top misinformation thing according to the first person who posted. I'm not quite sure if they've been posting misinformation. I think Twitter does this sometimes I don't know if this does it sometimes in your timeline, where it seems to like repeat certain things and they just get reloaded and you can't get to the actual thing you're actually looking for. Because it keeps going to like 18 hours. And maybe this person just posts a whole lot. But anyway, so I'm rambling. I'm going on and on. I'm trying to get to the actual thing. I haven't seen Rex Chapman actually address that actual post that he posted about that. I don't see that. I would like, again, I think that would be a cool feature to have, where you can come in and you can say, instead of doing a fact check, you can maybe come back in and fact check your own post instead of just deleting the things. Because I think, again, more information out there. I don't know what else to say with this. What do you think about this thing? 24 to 48 hours before you actually go in and actually say something. I had seen a different one where Rex Chapman actually seems to be doing a thing where this is an actual series for him. Let's see. How reform this. Let's see if I can get this right this time. Let's see if I do this right. Rex Chapman, because I'd seen something where it's like, yeah, that seems to be completely absurd, and I think I would be remiss to not include this in there, because you see, when he's doing certain things that he does, I'm like, yeah, that's a positive thing to do. You need to do this, and this is some. Before you watch this, is adult mentality. There's some brutal stuff you're going to see here. So this, I think, is good work for him to get something like this out, and this, I think, is why they should be recordings whenever somebody, supposed public servant. Yes, she seems to be being obstinate and things like this. But there's no point, there's no part for this. You don't do that. Why do that? Why do that right there? This person should be in jail. Like, they should be fined. I don't think that's an assault. What is his authority for him to demand she does it? Like, what is the result to do this? They should. You're already physically strong enough. Pick her up, move her, do something, but you don't slam somebody on the ground like that. So I think this might be a series that the person has been doing, October 29th, 2020. And still, if America was as horrific as some people seem to say it is, and maybe this is just Americans mean things literally, figuratively, where there's a different estimation to what they consider to be horrible. It's kind of like a first world problems type of situation where they have high expectations. And I think snowflakes built the West in the sense where by having certain high demands, you're hurling the people to a higher and higher standard. If this happens, as I mentioned, in certain countries where there's necklacing and things like that, that level of brutality is, first of all, not even seen. Second of all, if it's seen, like, what's the actual reaction going to be to it? You have millions of people who are able to see what the person says. 13.5 million views. This person's know the person still has their job. So there's some kind of retribution that comes to it. Unfortunate, it's horrible for what has happened to this female here. I think that's a female. Not one like assume her gender or anything, or identity, or the individual's identity. But so this happens with that, and there is some kind of retribution to it. There is some kind of high level of some standard to hold this person to a different standard of behavior, and I think that's a positive thing, and that comes from sharing more information. That comes from having more awareness about these kind of things, and then you can see the person goes off. It seems like he's like, oh yeah, I know I messed up. But what's going on with this? So this Rex Chapman posting this, by him being able to post this one thing, I would rather he have the ability to post many disinformation things like what he posted right now with this video. I'd rather he have the ability to do that if it means 1 out of 10,000 of his tweets point out something like this. I still think that's a general positive. I don't know what you think about that. What do you think is the best way to go about these kind of things? Because this misinformation does happen. Is it a way where you can come and put a fact check and notify on your old tweet and say, like right here and at the top, maybe you kind of hide your tweet in some way where you say like, okay, I messed up on this, or read this before you do it, or just have a situation where you can pin your first thing here. So I think there is some kind of way to address this and to fix this. And I know these apps and things like that are developing. This is a relatively new thing to actually do these things. So this, my thoughts on that. I think the third final recording. I think that's good. Good to go with this one. Till next time, more content wherever you actually listen to this. Till next time, goodbye.